Come along as I set sail through the dreamy Seychelles Islands in East Africa on a 7-night adventure aboard a boutique small ship cruise. In this video, I'll be sharing the full Variety Cruise itinerary, including a guide to each island we visited and all of the excursion offerings. I'll also be sharing everything you need to know about the Pegasus onboard experience, from the guest cabins to the dining on board and everything else in between, so let's get into it. Alright, so we're leaving the main island, there it is, and we are headed for our first stop. Shortly after getting on board, we had a quick meeting with the rest of the guests on board and the captain and learned that there were only 22 guests on board during our sailing. This put the Pegasus ship at just about half capacity, so we knew we were in for a very special and intimate experience. After the meeting, they passed out some sweet treats.
Little ice cream.
Ice cream.
How is it?
It's like chocolate and caramel.
A little after 3 p.m., we set sail for Mahe, the largest island in the Seychelles, and began sailing towards our first destination of the week, Curieuse Island. Day 1 is the only day on the itinerary that you spend mostly at sea, with the exception of a quick stop to go swimming. Let me give you a little room tour. Right, and here is our room. So it is a lot more spacious than I expected. It is a very small boat, but the room is really well sized. And there's a bathroom right over here. There you see it, closet space, a dresser, and a little TV. All these fun little surprises they gave us. So we are so excited and the vibes are so good. We just went for a swim right off the boat. As you can see, hello. So yeah, this is gonna be amazing and I'm so excited to share it, so let's go. We spent our first evening on board getting our bearings of the ship and enjoying a beautiful sunset at sea. We also attended our first briefing that night after dinner, which covered everything we needed to know about the following day, and then headed to bed for some much needed sleep. Okay, so it is our first full day on board the Variety Cruise, and we are going to Curieuse Island, I think is how it's pronounced. It is far out that way, but it is a uninhabited island where there are like giant tortoises, and I guess at some point it also was a leper colony, which is pretty interesting. We'll be doing a little walk around the island and seeing the turtles and our tortoises, and then kind of checking out where the colony used to be, and then we're having a beach barbecue and just spending the rest of the day at the beach. So it should be a fantastic day. I've already had an amazing morning, saw this sunrise, and yeah, we're having a really good time. So let's go check out this island. Woohoo! Most of the islands on our itinerary are either very small or totally uninhabited, which means for most of our stops we'll be taking tender boats to and from the islands, allowing for us to visit places that larger ships typically cannot dock at. Today's excursion activities began with a walk around the Tortoise Sanctuary that is located here on the island. This is one of the best places in all of the Seychelles to come into contact with these incredible creatures. Hi, buddy! Hey! These guys can live to be up to 120 years old, and you'll find over 500 of them here on this island.
These are the kid turtles. Not sure how old, but kid, medium kid. And then over here are the babies. Look how little. Let me get a better shot. Hi, kid turtle. Hey, buddy. You're just a kid.
Some Animal Planet level.
Yeah.
Look at the way his food just gets all over his mouth. I can absolutely relate with this. Yes, queen. Next on the agenda was a hike.
Hello.
Hi ho. Hi ho.
Hydrated, it might help you, but it fruits, this is the noble root mangrove. Just to point it out right here.
Finished up our walk around the island and we made it to the most beautiful beach. Let me show it to you. I'm mind blown. The water is literally electric blue. And then we're gonna be having a beach barbecue right up above in the mangrove. So let me show you. Might be the bluest water like I have ever seen in my life. It's so beautiful. Do we like Seychelles? Are we Seychelles fans?
Yes. Gatorade blue water.
It doesn't get better. It's incredible. For lunch, we had a delicious barbecue spread. This meal is included in the cost of your cruise, just like the rest of your meals. This is such a nice added touch that Variety does, and making sure that your lunches are also taken care of while you're on land. We had the rest of the entire day to explore and enjoy the beach, so we walked a little further down and found the most magical little cove. Our beach day has continued to be like one of the best days, I feel like, of my life, because I mean, what? And I'm just sitting here like enjoying this by myself. Like, my friend went back to the boat. They are offering the boat rides back every hour. There was one at 2 and 3, and then there'll be one at 4. So I'm waiting until the 4 o'clock just so that I can sit and take this in for as long as possible. And then we are staying at anchor right there, so we'll have this view for the rest of the evening, and I'm sure we might even have an opportunity to swim off the boat again. So yeah, it's been a fantastic day, a great first full day. We're going to Cousin Island, where they have a bunch of really cool birds and other things. We shall see. Cousin Island is an uninhabited nature preserve known for its many seabird species and is also a breeding site for hawksbill sea turtles. So we're on Cousin Island, and we went to try to do the like nature walk. They warned us about mosquitoes, and we put on a ton of mosquito spray, like covered our whole bodies with it, clothes, everything. But when we got out there, I'm talking like you couldn't, it was like a fog of mosquito. Like they were everywhere, you're breathing them in. It was so scary. So yeah, us and this other guy from our group basically were like, no, we can't do the walk, so we walked back to the beach. Absolutely. So we're gonna wait here.
Yes.
If your boat is bringing you to Cousin Island, I would think twice before you get off. There are really beautiful birds here, but get a pair of binoculars and look at them from the boat, I think, because the mosquitoes are, they're very, yeah. We'll see how everyone makes out with bites. We'll update you on that. So update, some people had a lot of bug bites, but some people had none, and they did see baby turtles hatching, so we did miss that. And I think that if you've never seen that before, that's definitely that's a risk you should weigh, because I think that would be a cool thing to see. But yeah, I mean, some people had a lot of bug bites, so we are feeling okay about our decision. But yeah, definitely just something to consider depending on how mosquitoes react to you typically, if you get bit a lot or not. So yeah. Later that afternoon, we had a delicious lunch on board while sailing to our next destination. Eventually arriving at Anse, Lazio, one of the most beautiful beaches on earth. Here is just a peek at our absolutely blissful afternoon here in paradise. This ended up being my absolute favorite beach that we visited in all of Seychelles. Not only was it absolutely stunning, but it had everything you could possibly want in a beach. There was a gorgeous restaurant and bar on the water, a few gift shops. I could have absolutely spent days on days here, and I will definitely be coming back someday in the future. And here is a quick peek at our evening, attending the briefing for the next day and then having dinner before heading to bed.
Embarkation procedure. Once again, we will be boarding a Zodiac from the island, a local boat from the island. At this time, the Zodiac is rubber, so they'll come directly to the boat to come and get us. Yeah, we will do the disembarkation.
So it is day 4 of our Seychelles Variety Cruise, and we are currently at an island called Variety Island. It's another nature preserve, so a little bit similar to yesterday when we went to Cousins Island. My understanding is that there's a lot of like amazing birds and definitely like turtles, great wildlife. They're doing a nature hike right now. We decided not to go for this activity. Variety really is like flexible. I mean, you make multiple stops a day, so if you don't want to do one of the activities, it's really not a huge deal, and it's not like you miss out on doing anything for the day. So it's been nice to just kind of hang out on board and relax for a little while and get out of the sun because it is so hot today. And I also was a little bit worried about the mosquitoes because of yesterday, just because this island specifically is a nature preserve, kind of like Cousins Island. So they did say it might, be similar, but who's to say? I'm sure they're having a great time. Definitely lots to see over there. But I figured in the meantime, we could do a little ship tour while no one's on board. So let's go. I know you already saw the room, so we'll start from the bottom and go up to the top. Starting in the hallway, this is where our room is, and I'll show you kind of what the hallway looks like. Here is where the majority of the guest rooms are. You can see that people have their snorkel bags, us included, just tied up outside, so it's nice to not be able to use all the space in our room to store that. That is provided by the ship, so they have snorkels and fins that they'll give you when you first get on board. Downstairs is a spa room where they do massages. Continuing on down the hallway is where the lovely reception desk is. Hello.
Good morning.
You'll find everything you need here, including the itinerary for the day, prices for the spa, and then also where you can keep your keys while you're out for the day. Nice to see ya.
Nice to see you.
Here is the bottom deck of the ship, and this is where you're able to come to do like water sports or to go swimming off of the side of the boat. So you can see they've got paddle boards and a ladder, so you're able to go swimming pretty much anytime that we're docked. If you want to request to go for a swim, they are totally good with that. Now we are on the second deck. This is kind of the main area where everyone hangs out. It's shaded. They're setting up lunch right now, and it's just a nice place to hang out. Obviously fully shaded, which is very much needed with the Seychelles sun. So let's go in for the main room. Entering the main lounge area of the ship, this is where everyone hangs out, especially Caitlin. We've made this our living room. We have the bar over here where you can grab a drink. And over here is a little refreshment station. They always have the coffee machine out for you to use anytime you want. That's free of charge. And then over here you'll find some snacks and then game boards and a good bit of books to choose from, so a little library. So yeah, over here is the main dining area. We eat about half of the meals inside here, so sometimes we'll have dinner or like breakfast up here, and then sometimes it is outside. And then continuing up to the top deck, find a few other guest suites. I think these are maybe the larger suites and a bathroom. And then outside we go. Here is the front of the ship. I decided to take a quick swim off of the back of the boat while we waited for everyone to return from the island. Later that afternoon, we sailed for a few miles to a spot where we would be going snorkeling. After that, we sailed again, this time towards our next island destination, Praslin. Once we were docked, we had a few hours of free time, so a lot of people got off and walked around the island a bit, and then later that evening, we had a special dinner. Some local performers came on board and shared some live music and dancing, and we were also treated to a very special catch of the day. The next morning, we set out for a half-day excursion exploring Praslin Island. One important thing to note is that all of our excursions and activities we've done on land up until this day have been totally included within the price of the cruise. Whereas today and tomorrow, the excursion offering does cost extra. These are totally optional though, and the prices are super reasonable. After a few scenic photo spots along the way, we arrived at the Vallee De Mai Nature Preserve. This is one of the world's smallest UNESCO World Heritage Sites, and walking through here feels like stepping into the real-life Jurassic Park. It's home to towering palm trees, as well as the iconic Coco de Mer double coconut that Seychelles is so well known for. After that, we visited a gorgeous beach on the island and were greeted with some lovely refreshments before spending about 2 hours of free time here on the beach. Back on board that afternoon, we enjoyed lunch and then sailed to our next snorkel spot. Little did we know we were about to get so lucky. And just when I thought our day could not get any more magical, we spent the evening anchored at sea, taking in yet another spectacular sunset. The next morning, we arrived at Digue Island and set out for a full-day excursion exploring the island. As I mentioned previously, this is one of only 2 days where you do have to pay extra for the excursion. I've included the price on the screen. We started out with a scenic drive around the island and a few photo stops, eventually arriving at a place called La Union Estate. We spent some time with our guide learning about how this used to be a coconut and vanilla plantation. We also made a visit over to the plantation house. Apparently this home is actually quite famous due to an erotic film that was shot here in the 1970s. While I definitely have never heard of this film, just about everybody in our group over the age of 50 had heard of it, so let me know in the comments if you have. After that, it was time to head to yet again one of the most beautiful beaches on Earth. The ship had packed us lunches to go, and we were able to go enjoy Anse de Jean for the rest of the day. A few tips I will share when visiting this iconic beach is to make sure that you walk down the entire length of the beach, because the farther down you go, the more beautiful it gets. You'll also want to be sure to pack along your water shoes for this day, because there were a lot more rocks and shells in the sand here. Back on board that evening, we had yet again another spectacular sunset, and actually probably the best one of the entire trip. It was mind-blowing. We also had our big farewell dinner this night, assuming that most people would be packing the following evening, and it was an absolute blast. One of the best parts of a small ship sailing is how close you get to everyone on board, including the staff, so we had so much fun celebrating and wrapping up our trip. on our last full day of the trip, we visited Moyenne Island, which is the smallest national park in the world. We spent the entire morning exploring all of the trails and viewpoints here on the island. Taking a break while walking down the stairs, so relatable. Are you my baby turtle? Oh, hi! There are also a few beaches here on the island, our favorite being Coral Cove. Back on board, we were treated to one last delicious lunch spread. Here is some extra footage to give you an idea of what lunch typically looked like and what was being served. As a very picky eater, I can say that every single meal I had on this cruise was fantastic and there were so many options. After lunch, we went out to go snorkeling one last time. That evening, the chef on board did a little cooking demonstration, and then we sat down for one final dinner on board before heading back to our cabin and packing up to go home after what was truly the trip of a lifetime.